So Battlefield 2042's The Battle of Nordvik event is into its second week, and this time we have a mix of breakthrough and rush for the mode that we get, and I have a few thoughts on it, some good, some bad, because this one is a bit more of a mixed bag, to me at least, than last week's was, but it still is a lot of fun, so let's get straight into it, and straight into what this week has to offer, starting with one of the biggest ones, which is the cosmetics, which is kind of what this whole event is based around in terms of what they want you to buy and what they give out for free. Keeping up with the theme of good cosmetics, we have a lot of good looking ones in the store for this week. For all you Falk players, there is a nice Falk headgear and uniform that looks pretty nice that's free in the store right now. Personally, I don't think it's as nice as the one on sale from last week in that bundle, but it still is pretty solid. We also have the homeless looking McKay skin, which a lot of people have actually been waiting for, so it's nice to see that in the store with a bunch of other items that come with it. And we have yet another bundle in the store which also looks really nice. Some good skins for Boris here, nice to see him getting some love. Personally, these ones don't appeal to me as much as last week's bundle did. But they still are really good, and I think the free cosmetics are nice to have. Of course, we've also got the earnable cosmetics through the event. These again are 20 ribbons to earn, which I think is a nice number. You don't have to grind for your life to get them, but with all those cosmetics out of the way that look pretty nice this week, let's get onto the mode itself and what I think about it. For this week we have Breakthrough and Rush combined into one mode. At least that's how it's advertised, because through my half a dozen games I haven't been able to get through to the Rush part of the game mode, just the Breakthrough part, which is basically the first half of the map. So the attacking team has to take objectives and advance to MCOMs at the end of the map and blow them up. And this mode relies heavily on the tailored experience of Breakthrough on Spearhead. Now I think that this mode actually works better than conventional Breakthrough on Spearhead in my opinion. I've been playing that the last couple of days, and it's felt very hectic and not in a way that's controllable or easy to navigate. I know some people really like that, but for me personally I don't. It's a bit too hectic for me, mainly because of how close the spawns are to each other and certain layouts of certain objectives and ways to push them. I definitely prefer Conquest on this map, but luckily the Breakthrough experience here is better to a certain extent, because this mode is 16v16 and not 32v32. Therefore you get a lot more of a refined experience where you yourself as a player and as a squad can really take control of the battle with a few good plays. Also means that you can pull off flanks and different routes around the map without getting caught out by some random player that's sitting in a bush 200 meters away and watching the direct route you're on, because it's less likely that enemies will be absolutely everywhere when the player count on the enemy team is only 16 players. So I quite like the fact that the player counts are reduced, and that leads to a much more tactical feeling experience. It still is a bit hectic in places, mostly due to the vehicle count of this mode, but I'll get onto that in a second. But overall it's pretty solid. Unfortunately, as I just said, the vehicle count I feel is a little much for this mode. You get different vehicles based on which objectives you're on, but I felt that the amount of helicopters and tanks was possibly a little much. It might be because I was playing Conquest Assault all last week and I got used to having no helos in the sky, but the helicopters on this mode can absolutely destroy your team if your team isn't paying attention to them. Now this wouldn't really be a problem in a larger player count mode, but with only 16 players on your team, you've got to have somebody with anti-air to take out the helis, otherwise you're gonna get destroyed. And that's all well and good, just take some anti-air equipment. But if you're playing solo like I was today in a squad of randoms, I was taking RAW and hacking enemy helicopters, and they would fly away and come back, and I'd hack them again and repeat that loop. Now that did keep my team safe, but without teamwork from other team members shooting down these helos, we were still getting pretty much battered in the time that it took me to hack the heli when it returned. The point I'm trying to make here is that helicopters are really influential in this mode, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing. With such a small player count, they can destroy your entire team in seconds, and it just feels a little unbalanced. Now this would change if you had a full squad. You could run anti-air and work effectively as a team, somebody so-flamming or hacking, and then somebody using an AA launcher to take out the helis. Of course you can also take them out with M5 rocket launchers, but that is a bit hit or miss on whether or not you can actually take out your target. But anyway, yes, you can take them out if you're running as a squad, but if you're solo like I was today, it is quite difficult, and your team will probably ignore the helis and get killed by them over and over again, instead of intervening and taking anti-air, which is a problem. That brings me to another point, which is that the attack and defense balance seems a little off. I played half a dozen matches today, and the attackers didn't win once. The defenders won every single time, and I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if it's the ticket count being too low, because it was more often than not that we'd run out of time for the attackers to take the objective rather than run out of tickets, because the ticket count is raised from 75 to about 100 plus or to 200 in some cases for attackers compared to normal rush. But it did come to the point quite often where the attackers would be stuck trying to take an objective that seemed impossible, and that's how the match would play out. They would get stuck there for the rest of the game and then it would end. Hence why I didn't actually make it onto the rush portion of this mode, just the breakthrough one. However, there are moments in this mode that really shine through and make you really enjoy it. Certain points where you and your squad will take an objective and push through it or flank an enemy squad and destroy them and pull off a really good maneuver do pop up more often than not. And I do feel like the player count here does lean towards giving you these moments more often than normal Conquest and Breakthrough do. I also have to point out that I do appreciate once again the lore effort of making a story out of these modes, because of course we now have the defense of Nordvik from the assault last week. I do really like that progression, and I want to see this continued in future events because it adds a sense of grounded realism to the mode which wouldn't be there otherwise. Anyway, that is my thoughts, and overall I feel like the mode is pretty damn good, not as good as last week, and I did have more problems with it compared to last week, but it's easier for me to talk about negatives rather than positives just because they stand out to me more. Rest assured it still is fun, but I probably won't be hopping into it after I've gotten the ribbon objectives and gotten the free cosmetics, whereas last week I was hopping into Conquest Assault quite a lot, even after I had completed the challenges. Anyway, that is enough of me talking. What did you think about this mode, these cosmetics, and this event? Please do let me know in the comments below. If you do want to come and talk to me or anybody else that loves this game, go and visit the No Salt Discord, link is in the description. And if you also want to touch up on any of your lore knowledge, there is a link to the Exodus archives down below. An archive comment is made and is about to be revamped very soon, detailing basically all of the events in 2042, all of the player cards, all of the tags, and it's host to loads of cool stories. So take a look in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.